been away from this project for a few weeks, and I come back a couple of days ago. Just gonna give you a little update, go around the apartment, just see what's been done. The project hasn't really fallen behind, but because I've been away for a few weeks, the pressure's sort of on to catch up for that time a little bit. And some stuff's been done, the decorators have been in doing a lot of work, so it has been pushing on, but there's been no real change or progress with the carpentry and the woodwork and the stuff that I'm working on. It's Sunday today, and I'm going to do a long day today. I worked yesterday as well. I finished last night about 9 o'clock, and I'm just going to be here pretty much all of the time for a little while to try and push on with the project and get to a stage where everyone's comfortable with the stage we're at. But I was lucky enough to go to Sicily for a week for a holiday. When I was there, I did the usual English thing, and I bought myself a summer hat, which I'm going to keep wearing just to keep the dream alive for a little bit longer, and that's it. I had a fantastic time in Sicily. It's never been there before, never been to Italy, and I loved it. It was fantastic, really enjoyed it. But I knew I had this project ongoing, and I'm keen to push on, make some progress, and get a good turnout for this project. So it was great to be away, and it would have been nice if it could have lasted longer, but I'm also happy to be back. It's good to be back and get back on. So I'll give you a little bit of an update on what's been going on while I've been away. The painters and decorators have been in doing a lot of the work they need to do, and let me spin around. So this room now, they've still got some work to do, but they've done quite a lot. You can see the ceiling's all fresh, it's all been repainted, the walls have all changed colour, and it might not have been that easy to see on video, but the walls had this wallpaper on, which is like a textured kind of wallpaper, very old-fashioned, and you see it in a lot of houses and apartments here in Sweden, and it's quite nice, but it's kind of a time period. So like if you see it, you know the decor is from, I don't know, maybe the 80s or the 90s, maybe even the 70s, I'm not sure, but now that's all been smoothed out. So these walls now, they're all smooth and flat, and it's way more modern looking. The panel down here has been painted, so it's got a different colour. It's like I'm not sure, maybe like a light greenish kind of colour, and then the top section is like a creamy colour, and then obviously the trims and stuff. You can see here, they're also the same colour as the panel, and that's all looking really nice. So they've done a lot of work there. I'll just take you down to the other section. It gets a bit dark when you come through here. This is what I've been working on over the weekend. I was in this room, I think yesterday or the day before, installing this floor. So this room is not done yet with the decorating, but the floor's down, and I'm going to cover that today so that when they come back tomorrow and continue with the decorating, it doesn't get paint and filler and stuff on it. This is quite dark in here, but you can kind of see this section, which is the smaller apartment that connects to the bigger apartment. All nice sharp lines, really good. They've done a fantastic job with the painting. They've got bits up here like this. All looks very nice. Where the ceiling meets the wall, instead of trying to cut into the crease of this like piece of trim or this coving, yeah, so you see that detail. Instead of trying to cut into the crease here, which is what ordinarily I've always done, and that's all I've ever seen people do, what they do is that I think they must use tape, and what they do, they put tape about 1 centimetre lower than the trim along here, and they put tape all around the room, and then they paint down to the tape, and then when it's dry they peel the tape off, and it gives this really sharp line. And then if there's any variation with the coving that's there where the line would go up and down, you just don't see that, and when you look straight on, you don't see that the paint comes down beyond the coving, because it all just looks like one piece with the white. So I mean, if I spin around, you can see just how sharp it looks. You can see there. I've never done that before, but I think it works better than cutting the line along the coving, so I will be doing that from now on if ever I need to do any painting. this floor was covered in tiles, and I removed the tiles, then I had to sand down the floor because it was very uneven and lumpy from the tile adhesive, so I got that back to being flat. And then while I've been away, electricians have been in and they've put heating cables in the floor, or they put heating cables on the floor, and then they've covered the whole floor with like a self-leveling compound. You have this blue strip which stops the floor leveler spilling out. If I just peel that away, you can see there the height difference. And they just use that blue foam strip to stop the leveler spilling out when they're doing it. But there is now floor heating cables underneath that floor. As far as I know, there's going to be new tiles put down on that floor, and then when that's done, the floor heating can be wired up and turned on, and then this will become a heated floor. You may have seen that before, but that's the way they do it now to get floor heating into a floor that already exists. I've got this room down here, which I've also done the flooring in. I finished this yesterday. I actually started it and finished it yesterday. And that's the bedroom that's down the end of the main room. Now this is the main room, the kitchen that was over there. The boards are up now ready for the new kitchen. And then this is like the main living area, and that's the bedroom down there that we were just in. And then I've been working on this floor in this bedroom, which is the master bedroom for the apartment. And I started this one as well yesterday, and now that's what I'm going to be working on today. There's a bit of furniture in here which is a bit of a pain, but it's fairly common, kind of expect it a lot of the time. I'm going to vacuum this floor, cover it with protective paper, then I've got some protective balls to put on top of that, and then I'm going to lift that furniture on top of those protective balls, and then that means I can work in that area and finish off this room, and then this floor will be done. And then after that I'm going to come back down to this apartment where I was earlier and start on these floors. So I've got to do this whole floor here, and then the bedroom through there is having the same flooring. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to work pretty hard, work pretty late, and get as much of the floors done as I can. This room here is having the same floor, so I need to clear this room out, which is going to be a bit of a task just in itself to get it empty. But then once it's empty, some parts of the floor are a bit rough and a bit uneven, so I might have to do a little bit of floor leveling in here before I can put the floor down. But that's what I'm looking to do this week. Get this room cleared out, get that floor down, and then I'm going to be ordering the kitchen. And it's a little bit ambitious, but I'm kind of hoping that certainly by the end of the week, Thursday, Friday, I can have the kitchen delivered, and then maybe next weekend I can start installing the kitchen over there. So yeah, that's going to be coming up pretty soon after this video, installing that kitchen. Okay, right, I better get started. Done with this room, and it's quite quick to put down this type of flooring. Same as like laminate flooring, or this is like vinyl, but it still goes together the same way. It's like click together planks, so it goes down quite quick. The only time it slows down a bit is like over here when you've got like an angle, that adds a little bit of time. And then the part that takes the longest is when you get to the end of the room and you've got to cut the planks down along the length rather than just cut the edges. So here I've got a distance of about 170 millimeters, and each plank is sort of 210 millimeters on the surface. So I've just got to cut a piece of the width off all the way down the line, all the way along this section, which is made up by 3 planks. This is vinyl, not laminate. If it was laminate planks, then I would run it through a like table saw, or if I had a track saw, I would use that. But these being vinyl, you can actually cut them with a Stanley knife. Before I'd done vinyl flooring, I had people say to me before that you just cut it with a knife and it snaps, and you do that. And that is kind of true, but it's not quite as easy as that. It's quite tough flooring, so you have to run the knife through it a few times, and along the length it's just going to be a bit harder. I'll just show you how I do it. It might not be the proved technique or the right way to do it, but it's just how I'm doing it and it works. So I'll show you how I do that. And that's all there is to it. It's the same as cutting off the end, but when you're breaking it, it's just easier to start at one end, and once it cracks, you then work your way along the line rather than trying to break the whole piece off in one go, because it's just too much resistance because of the length of the cut. So you just start at one end, get a little bit of a break, and then work your way along. This video is definitely not a tutorial. I'm not really that interested in making tutorial type videos. I did way back make a couple that were kind of like that, but I very quickly realised there's people on the internet and on YouTube that are way better than me at showing you how to do things, and way better than me at actually doing a lot of this stuff. But that's just one thing that I thought might be quite useful, because I sometimes struggle about how to cut the length. Not really because I can't think of a way to do it, but it's just a bit annoying when you get to the end of the room and you've got to do the cut all the way length. But that's it. Vinyl flooring, that's how I did it. Worked pretty well, and I'm almost done with this room, and then I'll be moving on to the next room and carrying on with more vinyl flooring. It has been mentioned on occasion about the places where I choose to sit and eat lunch. And there is usually a reason, but it's not always that obvious. But this spot here actually is it's the coolest spot in the apartment today. And I don't mean cool as in vibing. I mean, it's roasting today, it's really hot, the sun's shining, and everywhere in this apartment is hot because there's a lot of glass and a lot of windows. But down here, this sort of dark, drab kind of looking space is quite cool. So I'm going to sit there and eat my lunch. I have got homemade fajitas that I'm eating out of an old ice cream tub. Doesn't have ice cream in it anymore, but that's about as glamorous as it gets today. This is one of the rooms I've already done with the flooring. It's a bit of a breeze. The lake's looking pretty nice, but I won't be enjoying any of that today because I'm going to be working in here till late to try and get some more of these floors finished.